All right, so if you were absent today, make sure first you're checking the daily agenda every day. We finished the nitrogen cycle notes, so those are posted on Canvas for you to finish. You should already have that note packet. We just did the last page. But I want to walk you through how to do the escape room activity because that is a little complicated if you don't understand what you're doing. And then the end of class, we had about an hour where we finished the carbon cycle project. We started that last class period. So just make sure you have that finished up. It's going to count for an assessment grade. So it's ready to turn in when you see me next. So for the escape room, there's 3 of them. And I'm going to have you do the water cycle one while you're at home today. So if you go to modules, and we are under MT3 day 3. Okay. And on here, here's the teacher notes for the nitrogen cycle if you need them still. You're going to want to go and open up the first 2 water cycle links. So just what it says here, if you're doing this virtually, because you're not in class, you're going to end up screenshotting me the final screen with the completion code at the end of the escape room for credit. So go ahead and open up both of those links. I'm going to do the same thing. So I have my questions, and this is going to bring you to a PDF that I have embedded through Google Drive. And then you're going to have an escape room Google form here that you're going to fill out as you go. You probably also want a piece of paper to keep notes on because you're going to answer 4 questions at a time and then do something with them. So just get out some scratch paper so you have something to write your answers on for each level. So how this works is there are 5 levels of questions, and each level has 4 questions. So you can see this is level 1, question 1, level 1, question 2, level 1, question 3, level 1, question 4. And you're going to work through all 5 levels here. They each have 5 questions, okay? But you want to go level by level. Essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out what the answers are to these 4 questions, and then you're going to use those answers to figure out a code on the escape room link page. So first, let's go back to the questions. So let's do level 1 together. So again, get out some scratch paper, and you're going to write down your answers for questions 1 through 4 on level 1. So question number 1 says, the water cycle is driven by which factor? Oceans, the sun, moon, or clouds? So the answer for this one should be B, the sun. So on my piece of paper right now, I'm going to write number 1 is B, because we're going to need that later. Question number 2, most of the water on Earth is in which form? Freshwater, rivers, ice, or salt water? Well, most of the water on Earth is in the ocean, and so that would be salt water, D. So again, on my paper, I'm writing down number 2 is D. 3, another name for the water cycle is the circle of water, water movement circle, the hydrological cycle, or the hydraulic cycle. Okay. Most of these questions you can pull out of the note pages we did for the water cycle, but like this one was not on the note page, so that is something that if you need to, you could go Google and figure out the answer. But I'll tell you for this one, it is the hydrological cycle. So the answer for number 3 is C. Number 4, when liquid water turns into vapor and rises into the atmosphere, it is called, so it's going from liquid water and it is turning into water vapor. That would be evaporation. So question number 4 is A. So again, I have written down on my paper right now, number 1 is B, number 2 is D, number 3 is C, and number 4 is A. Okay, so those are my first 4 answers. I'm going to go over to my escape room tab, and I am going to decode the answers in order. So my question number 1, I said the answer was B. So I said it was B, sun. So I'm going to follow this letter B, and I have to kind of decode it and do this puzzle. And I'm going to follow the line. And it should be the number 3. Okay. So taking my answer and then following the path, I realized that B stood for the digit 3 for the code. So I'm going to put a 3 down. Then I'm going to do D, because question number 2, the answer was D. So let's go do D next. Choop. Yep. And I follow that, and that looks like number 1. Okay. Question number 3, the answer was C, so I'm going to do that one third. So letter C, I'm going to follow the loop-de-loops again. And that looks like number 2, so I'm going to put 2 down there. And then the last one is A. So A is going to lead me to 4. Okay. So my secret code here is 3124. Again, I figured that out by answering these questions correctly. And number 1 was B. So I used B. I decoded it and figured out it led to number 3. Question number 2, the answer was D. So I went for the second position, and I found letter D, and I followed it, and it ended up being a 1. And then I did the following for the same idea for the next 2. So if you get it right, if you hit next, it'll bring you to the next page. If you get it wrong, like I'm just going to randomly type in some numbers here, it's going to say keep trying. So if you get the keep trying, one of 2 things went wrong. Either you entered the wrong code because you didn't decode it correctly, or one of your answers is not correct. Okay? In this case, we got to the second page. So now we're on level 2. So I'm going to go down to questions for level 2. So again, get out some scratch paper. This is level 2, question 1, level 2, question 2, level 2, question 3, and question 4. So answer these 4, and then you're going to go decode them. So the first one I'll do, and then you're going to be on your own. During condensation, water changes from a blank to blank. Okay, so it looks like states of matter. Condensation, that's like dew on the grass or on the windshield of your car. So it is going from water vapor or a gas down into, it condenses into a liquid. So that would be B. So level 2, question 1 is B. So my first thing to decode, I said it was letter B. So I use that to figure out. My first number I decoded is number 6. Okay. Then go to question number 2. Where can water vapor be found? So look at those answers, figure out if it's A, B, C, or D. And then on this one, it's a matter of like reading the bar. If you think it's A, you'll put a 3. If you think it's B, you'll put a 6. If you think it's C, that's 1. And D is 8. Okay, so go ahead. You want to go level by level, answer your 4 questions in order, then go decode them with the puzzle. And if you get it right, it'll take you to the next page. I do want to show you one of the puzzles in advance because I think it's very tricky. So when you get to level 5, so that is the last level of questions here, okay, this is what the puzzle looks like. It's a little tricky. If the answer is A, it's these numbers added together up here. So like 3 plus 2 equals 5. So if the answer is A, the correct digit is 5. So I'm kind of giving you the answers to the puzzle on this. You do need to go figure out the order because you'll have to answer the questions to figure out what's in what order. But just so it doesn't throw you off, if you get A, the answer is 5. If you get B, B I think is tricky too because it is adding 4 plus 5. So if you think the answer is B, use the number 9. C is super tricky because it's adding from here and here. And so if it's C, the answer is 3. And D is kind of like A, where it's just going to go up. 3 plus 1. D, you'll use the number 4. So again, if you want to make a cheat sheet when you get to level 5, the answer for A is 5. B is 9. C is 3. And D is 4. So hopefully that's helpful. To get credit for this assignment, because it's going to take you some time, it took people in class between like 15 minutes to a half hour to finish all 5 levels. After this level, when you put in the correct code here, you will get a screen that says, congratulations, here's your completion code. Screenshot that image for me where it has the completion code and email me that screenshot, and I will give you credit for this one. Okay. So again, to get you started, under modules, you are going to go, and you just need to do the water cycle today. During the next class, we'll do the next 2. But click on escape room questions. That's this. Again, you want to go 4 questions at a time, level by level. And then also escape link. And that's where you're going to move through the levels. After you have your answers, decode them. And then that final screen, you're going to screenshot and send to me. Email me if you have any questions, but I would work on this today because next class we'll do the next 2, and that way you won't fall behind.